Hi everyone. So we'll continue memorizing from the book of Hebrews. So we memorized up to verse 5. Today we are going to memorize Hebrews chapter 4 verse 6. So I'll read that first. Verse 5 was a very short verse. Verse 6 is slightly longer but it's easy to memorize. So I'll read that. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 6. Since therefore it remains for some to enter it, and those who formerly received the good news failed to enter because of disobedience. Since therefore it remains for some to enter it, and those who formerly received the good news failed to enter it because of disobedience. So I'll read that again. Since therefore it remains for some to enter it, and those who formerly received the good news failed to enter because of disobedience. So we saw that the Israelite people, because of their disobedience, because of their faithlessness, because of their unbelief, they could not enter the promised land. God was leading them from Egypt, from the land of slavery, to the promised land through the wilderness. So he was leading them to the promised land through Moses. Moses was leading them to the promised land. But in the wilderness, when God tested them, they rebelled against God. They disobeyed God. They didn't have faith in God, right? So God was providing them everything. He was performing many mighty miracles among them. But when God tested them with small test, immediately they rebelled against God. When they were thirsty, when any difficulty came, immediately they murmured against God and they rebelled against God. Because of their rebellion, because of their disobedience, because of their unfaithful attitude, they could not enter the promised land, right? Because of their unbelief, they could not enter the promised land. Only Joshua and Caleb of that generation entered the promised land. So their journey is actually a symbol for us, right? So we can actually learn lot of things from that. So the entire journey of the Israelite people, we can compare it to our life, right? Or the New Testament time. So in a way, it prefigures the New Testament time, right? So God was leading the Israelite people, his chosen people, from the land of slavery, from Egypt to the promised land through Moses. And they were going through the wilderness, right? So that was the journey. In the same way, Jesus, the new Moses, is leading his people. He is saving them from sin and he is leading us to his eternal home, leading us to our eternal home, right? So he has promised us the eternal rest. So that is the new promise. The new Moses had given us the new promise, right? So Jesus has given us the promise. So he is leading us from sin and from the slavery of sin to the promised land, to his father's house. So he has told that multiple times, right? In John we read, in my father's house there are many rooms. I am going to prepare a place for you. Once I prepare a place for you, I'll come and take you there, right? So he's preparing a place for us. There is a place of eternal rest for us, right? It is getting ready for us. But to reach there, we have to finish our wilderness journey, right? So we are in this world. So the journey of Israelite people through the wilderness to the promised land can be compared to our journey in this world, right? So we are also not in a perfect world, right? There is a lot of evil around us. There are a lot of temptations. There are a lot of temptations to sin, right? So we need to remain faithful in this journey. God never promised that this journey will be smooth, right? He never promised that it will be easy, right? There will be difficulties. There will be tests, right? God will test us. Multiple times he will test us. That is how we will prove our faithfulness, right? God has put that tree in the Garden of Eden to test Adam and Eve, right? But they failed in that test. Same way, we will also have our own test, right? So God will test us. In that test, we should remain faithful. Then only we can enter our eternal rest, right? Same way, he tested the Israelite people also. God provided them everything. He provided them manna. He was performing many mighty miracles. But they were thirsty, right? There were some difficulties in that journey, right? In the wilderness, the journey is not easy. Many times they'll not have water, right? They were thirsty. There were other difficulties. Those were all tests to prove their faithfulness, right? So God will test us also in this journey, right? Because we are living in the evil world, there will be many temptations around us. There will be temptations to sin. We need to conquer all that, right? All those difficulties we should conquer by our faith in God, right? When he tests us, we should remain faithful. We should have that complete trust in God. We shouldn't sin, right? Even when temptations are around, we shouldn't sin. Jesus has given us an example, right? He was also tested by his father. His father tested him, right? And the devil tested him in the wilderness, right? He overcame the temptation. He overcame all the temptation. We already meditated that, right? Again, his father asked him to die on the cross for the salvation of the humanity. He obeyed that. When his father tested, he remained faithful. He conquered that test and he gave us a model to follow, right? So we also should remain faithful. Then only we can enter that promised land. It's not an easy journey. God never said it would be easy, right? There will be difficulties, there will be tests, there will be temptations, but God will provide us the grace. We need to rely on him, we need to trust him, and we should conquer. In multiple places in Revelation it's given, I conquered, God has conquered, Jesus has conquered. Same way you should also conquer. I think in the letter of Laodicea it's given, even in Philadelphia also it's there. I'll just see that. The message to Laodicea, it's given, he who conquers, I will grant him to sit with me on my throne, as I myself conquered and sat down with my Father on his throne. We need to conquer our temptations. We need to conquer our problems. We need to conquer our tests, right? Then only we can enter our eternal rest. It's not an easy journey. If it's an easy journey, many people would have entered, right? All the Israel people failed, right? So we saw that around 42 lakhs people started with Moses. Only 2 could enter the promised land. So it's not an easy journey, but we should fight our fight, right? God is there to help us. Jesus has given us all the grace that we need, right? So we should use all that and fight our temptations, right? And again, in the letter of Philadelphia also we read, I am coming soon. Hold fast what you have so that no one may seize your crown. He who conquers, I'll make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall he go out of it. And I'll write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. All this who will get? He who conquers, right? He who remains faithful till death, right? So that is our call, and then only we can enter our eternal rest. Otherwise, if we disobey, if we don't have that belief, if we don't trust in God, if we don't have faith, if we sin, then we will not enter that promised land, right? We will not enter that eternal rest. So with that meditation, I'll close today's meditation. I'll read Hebrews chapter 4 verse 6. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 6. Since therefore it remains for some to enter it, and those who formerly received the good news failed to enter because of disobedience. Thank you. God bless you all.